Good afternoon. Thank you very much for being here today. My name is Leanne Castellino. I'm part of the communications team here at St. Michael's College School. We will be hearing from Greg Reeves, principal of St. Michael's College School, in a moment. He will read a statement. He will then take questions about the events of today. Being mindful of your deadlines, we anticipate this briefing to last about 20 minutes in total. At time, we will let you know that there will be 2 more minutes for questions. Mr. Reeves will then read a closing statement. Mr. Reeves will also not be available for one-on-one interviews today. Thank you. Mr. Reeves?
Hi, everybody. Thank you for coming. So my name is Greg Reeves, and I am the principal at St. Michael's College School. As you know, today the Toronto Police Services have arrested 6 of our students. We have no further information about these arrests. The Board of Directors, the administration, the faculty, and the entire St. Michael's College community fully support these arrests. We absolutely believe the horrific incidents of sexual assault merit the charges being laid by the police. We will continue to work in full cooperation with the police as they continue their investigation. We have made it clear to them that we are at their disposal. These incidents are clearly indicative we have a problem, a serious problem. As a school, we have responsibility to keep our students safe, but our collective best efforts have failed. Today, our students remain the top priority. They will always be our top priority. This morning, we received a threat to the safety of our building. We acted very quickly with the police to evacuate the building and reaffirm the safety of our students. The building was reopened once the police provided the all clear. Through this, we continue to provide support and care for our victims of these horrendous acts. And we continue to encourage our students to come together and support one another during this time of healing. We are urging our student and parent community to be as open as possible through the continued police investigations. If anyone has any additional information, we want them to come forward. It is in everyone's best interest that we understand the entirety of this situation. We cannot report what we do not see. Today, we activated a confidential voicemail to allow students to anonymously report any incident. While we examine similar digital options to implement. We are hiring a full-time social worker to provide dedicated support services on issues of bullying, respect, and student behavior. Our board of directors have started to identify independent and qualified individuals to lead the independent respect and culture review. We have asked this review to take a deep dive into our school's culture today. Over the past year and in the historic past, the goal is to make the invisible visible and take action. This is an incredibly sad time for our entire St. Michael's community. Our students are heartbroken. Our faculty and staff are heartbroken. Our community is heartbroken. And our hearts ache for the victims. To do the right by the victims, by our students and their families, and by our alumni community, we know we need to do better.
Thank you, Mr. Reeves. We will now take questions.
Hi, Shauna with City News. I guess I'm just trying to get behind the thought process of the whole timeline of events. Police today were saying that you did make a call on the Monday, but it was very vague. You kind of sought advice on some incident. You did not make a report. And then police say, today they told me that on Wednesday, when they came knocking at the school about this video that media had alerted them to, that you had known of 3 incidents, 2 assaults and 1 sexual assault that had taken place. And you had known about all 3 since the Monday. So if you could just please, I guess, speak to the fact that you knew of 3 incidents and made a call to police but didn't take further action.
So there was the first incident was Monday morning. and we had a video. At that point, we began an investigation. We looked at the video to try to identify the students. We talked with the victims, their parents, and all the other students and their parents. I called Sergeant Smith about 3:30 on Monday, and I told him exactly what we had and what we did. Sergeant Smith said if the victims wish to have charges, they had to come to the police. Monday night, I came into possession of another video. At that point, I had set up expulsion meetings on Tuesday, so I went through the expulsion meetings on Tuesday.
Why did you not call police back, though? This is police, exactly. Police say that it is your responsibility to report these things.
Do you regret not doing that, hearing from police today suggesting that you should have?
So, the reality is I had to make a decision at that time, and when I saw that video, the victim became my most important person.
But isn't stopping that video from circulating the most important part?
And he, at that point, was a priority. So when I went in the afternoon then and called his parents, I called his parents because he had not informed his parents of what was going on. And as you can imagine, he was in some difficulty. And then to call his parent, his dad at that point, because his mom was out of town, it was difficult. It was a difficult moment at that point. I also set up expulsion meetings on Tuesday with the other boys that were perpetrators.
But this is a criminal matter.
Can we just ask one question at a time?
So Wednesday, at that point, the police did come in to St. Michael's over another matter. I had told every parent I was calling the police. I fully intended to call the police. And at that point, the police came in on another issue. At that point, I shared the video, and I was under the impression that I was the first one to share the video with them.
What was that?
Globe and Mail? Why hold back at all, sir? I mean,
Excuse me, just 1 second, please, Globe and Mail.
Thank you. So you conducted this internal investigation, but do you feel that you were able to do a comprehensive investigation? Clearly, you did these expulsions. A student was missed. They were on their way into school this morning when they were arrested. How did that happen? If you're saying that you did conduct this internal investigation, is it not the role of police to investigate crimes of this magnitude, evidenced by the fact that a student was on their way in this morning when they were arrested?
I don't know that. What I can tell you, though, is that I'm going to return to the victim. I made a decision. I know I'm being criticized for that, but I've spoken with the victim's parents. They are very pleased with the timeline, and I think that we're helping the healing of that victim.
If this was your child, would you want the video reported immediately?
Sir, you saw a video in which a boy, one of your students, was being victimized in a sexual assault. Again, just why, what rationale went off in your mind to say, don't call the police?
There wasn't a rationale in my mind to say, don't call the police. I intended to call the police the entire time. The reality was I was concerned about that boy. I didn't know who he was. I didn't know who the other people were in the video. I wasn't even sure at that point where it took place and when it took place.
But that's for the police to find out.
At that point, because I had expulsion meetings the next morning, and expulsions, you know, they're not easy for parents or for kids. So the reality was that I went through the expulsion meetings and then I began the next video. I made that decision in the best interest of that boy, and there's nothing else I can say.
Global News? Pardon me?
Back to that student who was kicked out on their way to school, how did that happen? And to your knowledge, was that student supposed to be coming into class today?
I am not aware of that when those things took place. You'll have to ask the police about their investigation.
Principal Reeves, 2 questions. Were any of the expelled students on bursaries? And number 2, have you gotten any calls that you should resign? Or should anyone in your administration either take a leave of absence, or should anyone be? I mean, you said before our best efforts have failed. You said it yourself. So is anybody actually going to be, from the administration's point of view, is anybody either going to be put on a leave of absence? Are you going to go on a leave of absence? Is there going to be some sort of resignation? And so if you could answer that as well. Were any of these students on bursaries?
I'm not going to reveal confidential information about students. The second thing is that the board has in full support of the way I'm managing the situation at this point. We are as shocked and horrified as you are. That is not what our community is about, and that obviously there's things that are happening that we're not aware of. So we are doing 3 pieces to this. We are cooperating fully with police. The second thing is we are caring for students in ways of social work. We're hiring a social worker. We put a hotline telephone in today. We're going to explore an app so they can have it on their phone if they want to report incidences. We've had parent meetings to talk to the boys to say they need to report and share information they have to help us. And the other thing is in the sense of families and how we're working with families, they are also pleased with how we're attending to the victims.
Today, police announced that they're investigating a second alleged sexual assault. Can you tell us what you know about that incident? Was it captured on video? When was that presented to you, and how you dealt with that?
I do not have any of that information. Any information I'm getting right now, I'm forwarding immediately to the police because it's their investigation.
Has anybody taken advantage of the tip lines or the apps that you have set up already
to
get people to come forward with?
The tip line was installed today, so at this point, no.
The app?
The app, we don't have the app on the phone yet. We thought we were going to get one yesterday. The problem was it wasn't one that we're exploring other options.
Do you have any more expulsion meetings coming up?
I do not.
Why would you even do your own investigation? Because TDSB has a policy of not have a protocol of not doing their own investigations and letting the police do that. So why would you do that? And also, what is your own protocol for dealing with the duty to report when there is a sexual assault?
I fulfilled the duty to report because I did call the police twice.
But when you called the police, you never filed a report.
And the investigation I did, I didn't know what was in that video and who was in the video. So at that point, we needed to understand that, and I moved ahead the way I did. So you're going to criticize that decision, I get that, but that's what I did.
But you didn't file a report until police came to you. You only filed a report when police came knocking on your door.
That's not true.
That's what police say.
No, I filed the report because the police showed up. It wasn't.
You didn't call them.
Excuse me, CTV, we have 2 more questions.
Police said that they came to you, and that's.
Okay, so what happened on Wednesday morning, I was in the expulsion meetings, and what happened was that police officers showed up to our school on a different matter. So at that point, I said to them, this is what we're dealing with right now. We're not involved in the other matter.
So you never called police?
I fully intended to call police that day.
But you didn't?
You didn't call police?
No, because the police showed up.
So you didn't call police, what you're saying
Had
is
the
you didn't
police
call
not
police.
shown up on an unrelated matter?
When were you going to call them?
When were you going to tell them that you had seen a video with a student being sexually assaulted?
I was going to call police at the end of that expulsion meeting, and that was made fully clear to all the parents.
But you
Okay,
saw
that's it for
you saw the
questions?
first video with
Sorry.
the sexual assault Monday evening, I believe, but you weren't going to call police about that.
I was always
specifically
going to call
until
police.
Wednesday
But
after-
why did it take you so long?
That is it for the
correct?
questions. Mr. Reeves, could you please read your closing statement?
Okay. This is dark days for us, and it's difficult to manage some of the days. But I would like to thank our students, our parents, our alumni, and in particular the faculty and staff at the school. They have gone way beyond the call of duty in support and care for our children. And I do appreciate that. And that will help us as we move through these days at St. Michael's. Thank you.
Thanks very much, everybody. Thank you.